What is going on, my fellow members of the Asgardian League of Fantasy? It's your commish back again with recap videos. Y'all asked for them. A couple of y'all asked for them. You said you really enjoyed them, thought they were funny. I'm just waking up, so I don't know how funny I can be. But I know that I never really did a championship week recap. Had a little bit going on, taking care of the baby and whatnot. The wife and daughter, they're still on their way home from their sleepover at Nana's house for her birthday. That was this past Friday. And so I figured I'd go ahead and make this a little quick recap. We can talk a little bit about the draft last night. We'll talk about the two matchups that were the two important matchups that were in week 17 last year. Final standings, recap the draft order, and the first round from yesterday. So we had a lot of fun last night at the draft party. I know some of y'all couldn't make it. You had other things going on, and that's fine. I do appreciate y'all being attentive and ready to make your picks when they did come around. It just everything went pretty smooth. We had some Derby City pizza last night, some hideout wings, um, and everything was good. We had a good time. We had a great time. And next time, hopefully, we can get together. I know some of y'all really wanted to do the Top Golf thing for trophy presentation, and hopefully next year we can do that at the end of the season. I think last year I just kind of things were a little busy. Timing it was a little short notice on trying to get that together and arrange that, and it just kind of fell to the wayside. So, all that being said, I look forward to the season. Let's go ahead and get this last recap in from last year before we talk about the upcoming season. So in week 17, in the championship game, we had Melvin over J. Russ, Josh Russell, by 22 points. The championship MVP goes to Christian McCaffrey with 31.3 points. It was a rough game. They did have that was the week that DeMar Hamlin died for like 10 minutes. Thankfully he's fine. He's back. I think he even played in one of the preseason games for the Bills. So, glad to see that he came back from that and is doing good. Around that, the whole thing surrounding that game and the decision to not do much about it. I believe Melvin had a pretty significant lead going into the game, and he had Joe Burrow, who was one of his main players, left, and Russell had T. Higgins left to play. I didn't really see a scenario where T. Higgins could outscore Joe Burrow by as much as he would have needed to for J. Russ to come back and win that game. I just said, if they get together and play the game later, Sleeper was supposed to have a button to recalculate the scores and make that right, and that was the plan, and they never did play that game, so we just left it as is, and everybody seemed fine with that decision. So it doesn't seem like it was the wrong one. But moving on, in our third place game, we had my brother Brian, the real Brian, as he would say, taking out Eric for third place by 43 points. And I would say he had the defensive MVP that week in TJ Edwards with 24 points. Massive upset for Eric, as he felt like he could compete for the championship. I even told him one week that he shouldn't play Zach Wilson. He should go ahead and pick up Gardner Minshew and roll with Minshew Mania, while Jalen Hurts was down and out. And I believe that if he had done that, he would have won. He would have been playing Melvin in the championship. But, you know, it's what happens when you go salary and you think you know more than the hourly employees. But sometimes you really don't. It happens. I get it. It's okay. Um, you did what you did and you lost. Maybe next time you'll listen to me. All right. And so that left us with the final standings of Melvin in first place. He's got the trophies, keeping it safe at home. He loves Thor. And so I don't foresee. I really hope I can get the trophy back, like when he loses. Like I'm afraid he's just gonna hold it hostage, and we're gonna have to call in a SWAT team to get that thing. Then in second place, J. Russ. You know, it was an up and down season, but he got hot at the right time and won the games that were most important. Third place, Brian, the real Brian. Fourth place, Eric. Fifth place, Josh Jansen. Sixth place, me. Just completely took took the L in the playoffs. Didn't have nothing to do. I don't. Nobody even showed up for my game. I don't think. Now into the non-playoff teams, we had in seventh, surprisingly, old Papa Bear won one game all season, and then come playoff time, he did what he had to do, and I really appreciate that because I had picks on the line. Uh, so eighth place, Brad. Thankfully, it was Brad. Oh my goodness, thank you, Brad. Because had you ended up losing and ended up in that last place game, and Melvin would have got the first pick instead of the third pick in the draft, on top of Derrick Henry and all that, that would have been a problem. It was a bad trade as it is, but it would have made it so much worse. It would have made it so much worse. Ninth place, we have Matt Murphy. Great season one, not so great season two. He a little rough time with some injuries there. Some guys that were supposed to be big for him, and they ended up not being that great. And in last place, our holder of these nuts and our draft announcer last night, Brian Carden, the fake Brian, as my brother would say. Buddy, you did a great job announcing picks. That first one was a little rough, but you really reeled it in for pick two, and my favorite, pick three, because as we'll touch on here in a minute, I'm ecstatic about my draft class. So that left us with the draft order of myself with the 101. Thank you to Brian Carden for taking David Montgomery for that pick that ended up turning into the 101, and Melvin Gordon. You know, so I mean, Melvin Gordon, he's out there in the cloud somewhere. I don't know. Jay Russ, taking that pick was involved in a previous trade by the previous owner. That was from Matt Murphy. Then at 103, I had myself again from Brad, and we'll talk about it here in a minute. I did get that pick from Melvin. Then pick four, we had Josh Jansen getting that pick from Eric, who got that pick from old Papa Bear in a pretty big trade. Number five, we had Melvin, got that pick from me. Six, Josh Jansen. Seven, Eric. Eight, the real Brian. Nine, J. Russ. And 10, J. Russ. Also getting that pick thanks to the previous owner from Melvin. So we had some off-season trades that involved myself and Melvin. the 105 and the 303 got me the 103. We had a trade between me and Brad, who, like, this is a lot to give up for just a couple of draft picks. But in my head, this is Marvin Harrison Jr. coming to me. So we had Jared Goff, James Conner, Brandon Ayuk, and Khalil Herbert going to Brad for a 2024 first and a 25 third. As the wife and baby come walking in the door back from their night out with grandma. We had a trade that was Mike Evans and Trey Lance going to Melvin for Hollywood Brown and Kyler Murray to me. And in one of our other trades, we had Jacoby Myers, Jonathan Taylor, Darius Toney, and a 24 first and a 307 going to Pops for 104 and 204. And then that 104 ended up being involved in a trade from Eric to Josh Jansen for Tyreek Hill, and there's a lot to go on. I didn't have that written down. I'm just kind of winging it at this point. So, to recap last night, the 101, everybody knew it. It's no shock at all. Bijan Robinson, 101. To myself, I contemplated for 2 weeks just going ahead and hitting the draft button in the draft, just so it was there, and we were gonna just start with the second pick on the clock with the draft last night, but wanted to build some suspense. Maybe I don't think it did. Shocker at the 102, Anthony Richardson. Now, I thought it was a possibility, but I thought it was going to be later in the draft. And then the 103, Jahmyr Gibbs, falling right into my lap. Then we had at 4, Quentin Johnston. I thought JSN was the obvious pick there, but he ended up going to Melvin at 5. Then at 6, Zach Charbonnet, still going early, even though he's got Kenneth Walker in his backfield. And then we had Dalton Kincaid at 7. Devin A-Chain at 8. And Jordan Addison and Zay Flowers to round out the first round at 9 and 10. So, all in all, we had a great night. Thank you all again who came, and everybody that didn't. Thank you for paying attention and being ready to pick, and allowing us to kind of move pretty smooth all night long. And can't wait to get this season underway. And I hope y'all have some fun. Be sure to vote in those couple of polls that I pinned in there for you guys for different changes. And enjoy the preseason power rankings. Brought to you by KeepTradeCut.com. Not a sponsor. But y'all have a good one. And see y'all around.